Good morning, my friends. Today I want to talk about something that we often complicate, but in truth, it's very simple: letting go. We live in a world where we've been taught to hold on to ideas, possessions, relationships, and especially to our past. We cling because we believe it brings us security, but holding on, in many cases, is the very thing that keeps us stuck. Letting go isn't about giving up or losing. It's about freeing yourself. It's about releasing the things that no longer serve your highest good. Imagine holding a rope with all your strength, your hands blistering from the grip. The more you hold on, the more pain you experience. Yet when you let go, there's immediate relief. Why do we resist letting go? Because of fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what will happen next. But here's the truth: the unknown is where all growth and magic happen. When you let go, you allow life to flow freely through you. You open yourself to new experiences, new people, and new possibilities. Think of a river. It flows effortlessly because it doesn't resist the rocks in its path. It simply moves around them. Life works the same way. When you let go, you stop resisting the natural flow. You align with life instead of fighting it. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but how do I let go of something so deeply ingrained? The answer is simple: choose. Yes, choose. In every moment, you have the power to choose how you respond. You are not your past, your fears, or the things you've held on to. You are a magnificent being capable of creating anything you desire. But you can't create if your hands are full of old baggage. Letting go begins in your mind. It starts with the decision to release the need to control every outcome, to stop clinging to what was, and to embrace what is. It's a shift in perspective, a realization that holding on isn't strength, but rather it's an act of fear. And when you let go, you step into love. Love for yourself. Love for the present moment. Love for the infinite possibilities that await you. So my friends, the next time you find yourself clutching to a situation, ask yourself, what would happen if I simply let go? You'll find that it's not only simple, but also liberating. The universe is abundant, and it's always guiding you. Trust it. Trust yourself. And remember, letting go is not about losing anything, it's about gaining everything. Letting go brings freedom. It's a concept that can seem almost too simple, but its depth is profound. When we cling to things, whether it be people, situations, or beliefs, we are often unaware of the weight it places on our spirit. We hold on to these things out of habit, fear, or a sense of obligation, not realizing that the act of holding on is what's truly holding us back. Imagine for a moment the last time you felt burdened by something. Perhaps it was a relationship that no longer served you, a job that drained your energy, or even a belief about yourself that kept you small. How did it feel to carry that weight? Heavy, right? There's a tightness, a tension, a sense of being stuck. Now imagine what it would feel like to release that, to let go of the need to control it, to simply allow it to be as it is without your hands clinging to it. In that moment of release, there is a lightness, an expansion, a feeling of relief. That is the freedom that comes with letting go. But letting go is not always easy. We are conditioned to believe that holding on equates to strength. We are taught that perseverance means clinging tightly, that success is tied to our ability to endure and control every outcome. But what if the opposite is true? What if real strength lies in our ability to release, to trust, to surrender? What if the key to living fully is not in how much we can hold on, but in how freely we can let go? When we hold on to things, especially those that no longer serve us, we are essentially chaining ourselves to the past. We are keeping ourselves tethered to something that may have had value at one time, but has since become a source of stagnation. We often hold on because of fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of what might happen if we let go. But in doing so, we are missing out on the vast expanse of possibilities that life has to offer. We are missing out on the present moment and the future because we are too busy clinging to what was. The truth is, letting go is not a sign of weakness, nor is it a form of defeat. It is a powerful act of courage. It is the ultimate expression of faith, faith in yourself, faith in life, faith in the idea that what is meant for you will never pass you by. Letting go allows you to step into a new space, one that is free from the constraints of the past and open to all that is possible. Consider for a moment the act of holding on. Imagine your hands gripping tightly onto something, perhaps a rope, a branch, or even a person's hand. The more you hold on, the more tension you create in your body. Your muscles tighten, your breathing becomes shallow, and your focus narrows to the act of holding on. In this state, there is little room for anything else. Your energy is consumed by the need to maintain your grip. But when you let go, everything changes. The tension releases, your muscles relax, your breathing deepens, and suddenly your focus expands. You become aware of the space around you, the possibilities that exist beyond what you were holding on to. Letting go creates space for new experiences, new opportunities, new relationships. It creates space for growth, for healing, for transformation. One of the most powerful aspects of letting go is the freedom it brings in terms of self-identity. So often we hold on to ideas about who we are, ideas that may have been shaped by others or by our past experiences. We cling to these identities because they feel familiar even when they no longer serve us. But these identities can become cages, limiting our potential and preventing us from evolving into the fullest expression of ourselves. When we let go of these old identities, we open ourselves up to the possibility of becoming something greater, something truer to who we really are. We give ourselves permission to evolve, to change, to grow. Letting go also brings freedom in our relationships. We often hold on to people or relationships out of a sense of obligation, fear of being alone, or the belief that we need someone else to complete us. But true freedom in relationships comes when we release the need to control or cling to others. When we let go of the idea that we need someone else to be happy or fulfilled, we allow ourselves to experience love in its purest form, love that is not based on possession or attachment, but on mutual respect, trust, and the freedom to be ourselves. In this space of letting go, relationships can flourish because they are not weighed down by the burdens of expectation or fear. In addition to personal relationships, letting go can bring freedom in how we relate to our goals and ambitions. We often become so attached to a specific outcome or vision of success that we lose sight of the joy in the journey. We become fixated on achieving a certain result, and when things don't go according to plan, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or even defeated. But when we let go of the need to control every outcome, we free ourselves to enjoy the process. We allow ourselves to be present in each moment, to learn, to grow, and to experience life as it unfolds. This doesn't mean giving up on our goals or aspirations. Rather, it means releasing the rigid attachment to how things should be and trusting that life will unfold in the way that is best for us. Letting go also brings freedom from the past. So many of us carry around the weight of past mistakes, regrets, or traumas. We hold on to these memories because we believe that they define us, that we are somehow bound by them. But the past is just that, the past. It is not who we are, nor does it have to dictate our future. When we let go of the past, we free ourselves from its hold over us. We allow ourselves to step into the present moment, unburdened by the mistakes or hurts of yesterday. In this space of freedom, we can create a new future, one that is not limited by what has come before. There is also a profound sense of peace that comes with letting go. When we release our need to control, we stop resisting the natural flow of life. We stop fighting against what is and begin to accept it. This acceptance brings with it a deep sense of inner peace because we are no longer in a state of conflict with ourselves or with life. We are no longer trying to force things to be a certain way. Instead, we are allowing life to unfold naturally, trusting that everything is happening exactly as it should. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that we won't face challenges. But when we let go, we approach these challenges with a sense of calm and trust, knowing that we have the strength and resilience to handle whatever comes our way. The beauty of letting go is that it is something we can practice in every moment. It is not a one-time event, but a way of being. Each time we find ourselves holding on, whether to a thought, a feeling, a person, or a situation, we have the opportunity to let go. We have the choice to release our grip and allow life to flow. And with each act of letting go, we experience a little more freedom, a little more peace, and a little more joy. Ultimately, letting go brings freedom because it allows us to live in alignment with the natural flow of life. It frees us from the burden of trying to control what is beyond our control. It frees us from the weight of the past and the fear of the future. It frees us from the limitations of our old identities and the need to cling to relationships, outcomes, or material possessions. When we let go, we step into a space of openness, possibility, and expansion. We allow ourselves to be present in each moment, to experience life as it is, and to trust that we are exactly where we need to be. And in that space of trust and openness, we find true freedom. Fear is the root of resistance, something we all experience, whether we acknowledge it or not. Fear has a way of creeping into our minds, subtly influencing our decisions and shaping our actions. Often we don't even realize it's fear that's holding us back. We label it with other names: procrastination, doubt, hesitation, but beneath all of these lies fear. It is fear that causes us to resist change, to cling to the familiar, to avoid taking risks. Fear creates an invisible barrier that keeps us from stepping fully into our potential and living the life we truly desire. The tricky thing about fear is that it's deeply ingrained in our psyche. From a young age, we are conditioned to be cautious, to avoid danger, to stay safe. This conditioning serves a purpose after all. Fear has helped humans survive for thousands of years. But in our modern world, where many of the dangers we face are not physical threats, this instinctual fear can often become misplaced. Instead of protecting us, it limits us. It prevents us from moving forward, from growing, from evolving. Fear tells us that it's better to stay in our comfort zone, even if that zone has become a prison. Resistance in its many forms is a direct result of fear. When we resist something, whether it's a change in our environment, a new opportunity, or even a different way of thinking, we are often doing so because we are afraid. We are afraid of what that change might bring, afraid of the unknown, afraid of losing control. This fear can be paralyzing. It keeps us stuck in place, unable to move forward. It convinces us that staying where we are is safer, even when deep down we know that staying put is not serving us. Fear of the unknown is one of the most powerful forms of resistance. As human beings, we like certainty. We like to know what's going to happen next, to have a plan, to feel in control of our circumstances. But life is inherently uncertain. No matter how much we plan, how much we prepare, there will always be unknowns. And for many of us, this is a source of great anxiety. We resist stepping into the unknown because we fear what might happen. We fear failure, we fear disappointment, we fear that things won't go the way we want them to. But here's the truth: the unknown is where growth happens. It is in the unknown that we discover new possibilities, that we find our strength, that we learn what we are truly capable of. The more we resist the unknown, the more we limit ourselves. Fear also causes us to resist letting go. We hold on to things, people, situations, beliefs because we are afraid of what might happen if we let them go. We are afraid that if we release our grip, we will lose something valuable, or that we will be left with nothing. But in reality, holding on often creates more suffering than letting go. When we hold on to something out of fear, we are not allowing life to flow naturally. We are trying to control something that may no longer be in alignment with who we are or where we are going. And the more we resist letting go, the more we create tension within ourselves. Letting go is not about losing, it's about creating space for something new to enter. But fear makes us believe that letting go is dangerous, that it will lead to emptiness or loss. This is the illusion that fear creates, a false sense of security in holding on, when in fact true freedom lies in the release. Another way fear manifests as resistance is in our relationships. We resist being vulnerable with others because we fear rejection, judgment, or abandonment. We build walls around ourselves, keeping others at arm's length because we are afraid of being hurt. But in doing so, we also resist the possibility of deep connection, of true intimacy. Fear tells us that it's safer to keep our hearts closed, to protect ourselves from potential pain. But the truth is, when we resist vulnerability, we also resist love. We resist the very thing that we crave the most, the feeling of being seen, understood, and accepted for who we are. Fear creates a barrier between us and others, and the more we give in to that fear, the more isolated we become. Fear is also at the root of resistance to change. We often resist change because we are afraid of losing control, afraid of what we might have to let go of in the process. Even when we know that a change is necessary, that it will ultimately be for our benefit, we still resist it because the unknown feels more threatening than staying in a situation that is familiar, even if that situation is no longer serving us. This is the paradox of fear. It keeps us clinging to the very things that hold us back, because it convinces us that what is known, even if it is painful, is safer than what is unknown. But in reality, change is the only constant in life. The more we resist it, the more we struggle. When we stop resisting change and instead embrace it, we open ourselves up to new possibilities, new experiences, and new levels of growth. Fear also creates resistance within ourselves, resistance to our own potential. We fear stepping into our greatness because we are afraid of failure, of not being enough, of not being worthy. We resist pursuing our dreams because we are afraid of what it might require of us, of the risks we might have to take, of the possibility that we might not succeed. This fear keeps us playing small, staying within the confines of what feels safe and familiar. But the truth is, our potential lies beyond the edges of our comfort zone. It lies in the space where fear resides, in the place where we feel most uncomfortable. The more we resist stepping into that space, the more we limit ourselves. This resistance to our own potential is often rooted in a fear of failure. We are afraid that if we try and fail, it will confirm our deepest insecurities, that we are not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough. So we avoid trying altogether, convincing ourselves that it's better to stay where we are than to risk failure. But failure is not something to be feared. It is a necessary part of growth. It is through failure that we learn, that we refine our skills, that we become stronger. The fear of failure keeps us from taking the very actions that would lead us to success. It keeps us from stepping into our power and living the life we are meant to live. But fear doesn't only cause resistance to failure, it also causes resistance to success. This may seem counterintuitive, but many of us resist success because we are afraid of what it might mean for our lives. We are afraid of the responsibility that comes with success, afraid of the expectations that might be placed on us, afraid of how our lives might change. This fear of success can be just as paralyzing as the fear of failure. It keeps us from fully stepping into our potential, from embracing our gifts, from sharing our talents with the world. We resist success because we are afraid that it will require us to change, to step into a new version of ourselves, to let go of the old ways of being that feel safe and familiar. Fear also causes us to resist taking risks. We play it safe because we are afraid of what might happen if we take a chance. We are afraid of the unknown, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of losing what we have. But playing it safe keeps us stuck. It keeps us from experiencing the fullness of life, from discovering new possibilities, from growing into the person we are meant to be. Taking risks is essential to growth. It is only when we step outside of our comfort zone, when we take a leap of faith, that we discover what we are truly capable of. But fear keeps us from taking those risks, convincing us that it's better to stay where we are, even if it means staying small. Fear also causes resistance to forgiveness. We resist forgiving others because we are afraid that by forgiving we are condoning their actions, or that we will be left vulnerable to being hurt again. But holding on to resentment and anger only keeps us trapped in the past. It keeps us from experiencing peace and freedom in the present. Forgiveness is not about letting the other person off the hook. It is about freeing ourselves from the burden of carrying that anger and pain. But fear tells us that if we forgive, we will be weak, that we will be giving up our power. In reality, forgiveness is one of the most powerful acts we can take. It releases us from the chains of the past and allows us to move forward with an open heart. But fear creates resistance to this release, convincing us that holding on to the pain is safer than letting it go. Ultimately, fear is the root of all resistance. It is fear that keeps us from stepping into our full potential, from embracing change, from letting go, from taking risks, from forgiving, from loving, from living fully. Fear creates a barrier between us and the life we truly desire. It keeps us stuck in place, resisting the very things that would bring us joy, fulfillment, and freedom. The more we give in to fear, the more we resist the flow of life, the more we resist our own growth, the more we resist the very things that would lead us to happiness. Letting go is a choice. It is one of the most powerful choices we can make in our lives, yet it is often one of the most difficult. This is because letting go requires us to make a conscious decision to release our attachment to something, whether it be a thought, a belief, a person, or a situation. It is not something that happens passively. It is an active process, a deliberate act of the will. And while it may seem challenging at times, the truth is that letting go is always within our control. We have the power, at any moment, to choose to let go. What makes letting go so challenging is that we often become attached to the things we hold on to. These attachments give us a sense of identity, of security, of familiarity. We hold on to beliefs about who we are, about what we deserve, about how the world works, because they provide a framework through which we understand our lives. We hold on to relationships, even when they are no longer serving us, because they give us a sense of connection and belonging. We hold on to memories of the past because they remind us of who we were and where we've been. In all of these cases, the act of holding on gives us a sense of stability, of continuity, of control. And yet the very act of holding on is what creates suffering. When we hold on to something, we are, in essence, resisting change. We are trying to keep things as they are, to preserve a certain state of being, even when that state no longer aligns with our present reality. Letting go, on the other hand, is the act of releasing that resistance. It is the act of surrendering to the natural flow of life, of allowing things to evolve and change as they are meant to. But this requires a level of trust in ourselves, trust in life, trust in the idea that what is meant for us will always come to us, and that what is not meant for us will naturally fall away. This trust is often where we struggle. We want to control outcomes to ensure that things turn out the way we envision. We believe that if we just hold on a little longer, we can somehow influence the result. But in reality, the more we try to control, the more we create tension within ourselves. Letting go is about releasing that need for control and embracing the uncertainty of life. It is about recognizing that we cannot always predict or dictate how things will unfold, but we can choose how we respond. The choice to let go is a decision to prioritize our inner peace over external circumstances. It is a choice to release the things that weigh us down, that create stress and anxiety, that keep us from living fully in the present moment. When we choose to let go, we are making a statement to ourselves and to the universe that we are no longer willing to carry the burden of things that no longer serve us. We are choosing to free ourselves from the past, from the fears and doubts that hold us back, from the need to control every detail of our lives. This act of letting go is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to defeat. It is about empowerment. It is about taking responsibility for our own happiness and well-being, rather than placing that responsibility on external factors. One of the most profound aspects of letting go is that it is always within our control. No matter what situation we find ourselves in, no matter what challenges we face, we always have the power to choose how we respond. We may not be able to change the circumstances of our lives, but we can change our relationship to those circumstances. We can choose to release the need to control, to let go of the things that no longer serve us, and to focus instead on what brings us peace and fulfillment. This is a radical act of self-love because it requires us to put our own well-being first. It requires us to recognize that we are worthy of living a life that is free from unnecessary stress, anxiety, and suffering. Letting go is not about avoiding responsibility or shirking our duties. It is about recognizing the limits of our control and choosing to focus our energy on the things that truly matter. So often we become bogged down by trivial concerns, by petty grievances, by the minutiae of everyday life. We hold on to these things because we believe they are important, because we feel that if we let them go, we will somehow lose a part of ourselves. But in reality, holding on to these things only drains our energy and distracts us from what is truly important. Letting go is a choice to simplify our lives, to release the things that no longer align with our values or our goals, and to focus instead on what brings us joy, meaning, and purpose. This process of letting go often involves a shift in perspective. It requires us to move from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. When we are holding on tightly to something, we are often operating from a place of fear of losing what we have, fear of not being enough, fear of missing out. But when we choose to let go, we are making a statement of faith. Letting go is also about acceptance. It is about accepting things as they are rather than as we wish them to be. This does not mean that we have to like or agree with everything that happens in our lives. But it does mean that we stop fighting against reality. We stop trying to change things that are beyond our control, and we start focusing on what we can control: our own thoughts, attitudes, and actions. When we accept things as they are, we release the need to force things to be different. We stop resisting the present moment, and we allow ourselves to be fully present in our lives. This acceptance can be incredibly powerful when it comes to our relationships. So often we hold on to people or relationships because we believe that if we just try harder, if we just give more, if we just hold on a little longer, things will change. But in many cases, holding on only creates more pain and suffering. It keeps us in a state of limbo, where we are neither fully present in the relationship nor fully free to move on. Letting go in this context is a choice to release the need to control the other person or the outcome of the relationship. It is a choice to accept the relationship as it is, without trying to force it to be something it is not. This can be incredibly difficult, especially when we care deeply about the other person. But it is also one of the most loving things we can do for ourselves and for the other person. When we let go, we create space for both ourselves and the other person to grow, to heal, and to find our own paths. Letting go is also a choice when it comes to our own self-concept. We often hold on to beliefs about ourselves that are limiting, that keep us stuck in old patterns of behavior. We may believe that we are not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. These beliefs can be deeply ingrained, often stemming from childhood experiences or past traumas. But holding on to these beliefs only keeps us from realizing our full potential. Letting go in this case is a choice to release these limiting beliefs and to embrace a new understanding of ourselves. It is a choice to see ourselves as capable, worthy, and deserving of all the good that life has to offer. This shift in self-perception can be incredibly empowering. It allows us to step into our true power, to pursue our goals and dreams with confidence, and to live a life that is aligned with our highest potential. The act of letting go is also a choice when it comes to our past. Many of us carry the weight of past mistakes, regrets, or traumas. We hold on to these memories because we believe that they define us, that they are an integral part of who we are. But holding on to the past only keeps us trapped in a cycle of pain and suffering. Letting go in this context is a choice to release the hold that the past has on us. It is a choice to forgive ourselves for our mistakes, to release the pain of past hurts, and to move forward with a sense of freedom and possibility. This does not mean that we forget the past, or that we ignore the lessons it has taught us. But it does mean that we stop allowing the past to dictate our present and future. We choose to release the emotional attachment to the past and to focus instead on creating a new future. Letting go is also a choice when it comes to our expectations. So often we create expectations for how things should be, how our lives should unfold, how people should behave, how situations should play out. When reality does not meet these expectations, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or even resentful. But these feelings are a direct result of our attachment to the outcome. Letting go in this context is a choice to release our expectations and to allow life to unfold as it will. It is a choice to trust that things are happening for our highest good, even if they do not align with our preconceived notions of how things should be. This requires a level of flexibility and openness, but it also brings a great sense of peace. When we let go of our expectations, we free ourselves from the burden of disappointment and then frustration. We allow ourselves to be present in the moment and to appreciate life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. Letting go is a choice in every moment. It is a decision that we make over and over again, each time we find ourselves clinging to. Letting go aligns you with love and abundance. This may seem like a paradox at first, but when you truly understand the nature of letting go, you realize that it is one of the most powerful acts of love that you can perform for yourself and for others. When we hold on to things, whether they are ideas, people, or outcomes, we often do so out of fear of loss, fear of change, fear of the unknown. But love is the opposite of fear. Love is expansive, open, and free-flowing, while fear is constrictive, controlling, and rigid. To let go is to release the grip of fear and align yourself with the energy of love. And in doing so, you open yourself up to the abundant flow of life, where possibilities, opportunities, and connections are limitless. Love in its truest form is unconditional. It does not cling, it does not demand, it does not control. It simply is. It is a state of being that exists beyond the limitations of the ego, beyond the need to possess or to control. When we let go, we are choosing to align with this higher form of love. We are choosing to release our attachments, our expectations, and our need for control, and instead we trust in the natural flow of life. This is not a passive act, but an active and conscious decision to surrender to the greater wisdom of the universe. It is an acknowledgement that love and abundance are not something we need to seek or chase after they are already present, always available to us, if we are willing to let go of the things that block their flow. When we hold on to things out of fear, we create resistance within ourselves. This resistance not only blocks the flow of love and abundance, but also creates a sense of lack of scarcity. We become focused on what we don't have, on what we fear losing, on the limitations of our circumstances. This mindset of scarcity keeps us stuck in a cycle of fear and control, where we are constantly trying to grasp and hold on to things that we believe will bring us security or happiness. But the truth is, the more we hold on, the more we reinforce the belief that we are lacking. The very act of holding on creates a sense of separation from the love and abundance that is our natural state. Letting go, on the other hand, is an act of faith. It is a declaration that we trust in the inherent goodness of life, that we trust in our own worthiness, and that we trust that everything we need will be provided to us in the perfect way and at the perfect time. When we let go, we are no longer trying to force or control outcomes. We are no longer operating from a place of fear or lack. Instead, we are aligning ourselves with the energy of abundance, where everything flows freely and effortlessly. This is the space where miracles happen, where opportunities arise, and where love can flourish without conditions or limitations. Letting go also aligns us with the truth of who we are. At our core, we are beings of love and light, connected to the infinite source of abundance that flows through all of creation. But over time, through conditioning, fear, and limiting beliefs, we build walls around ourselves. We create identities based on our attachments, our relationships, our possessions, our achievements, our status. We begin to believe that our worth is tied to these external things, and as a result, we hold on to them tightly. But in doing so, we lose touch with our true nature. We forget that our worth is inherent, that we are already whole and complete, that love and abundance are our birthright. Letting go is the process of peeling back these layers of attachment and returning to the truth of who we are. When we let go, we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We open ourselves up to the unknown, to the possibility of loss, to the uncertainty of life. This vulnerability can be scary, but it is also where true connection and love can be found. When we hold on to things out of fear, we create a barrier between ourselves and others. We become guarded, defensive, and closed off. But when we let go, we open our hearts. We allow ourselves to be seen, to be known, to be loved for who we truly are, rather than for what we have or what we do. This is the essence of unconditional love, the ability to love and be loved without attachment, without conditions, without fear. In relationships, letting go is especially important. So often we cling to relationships out of a fear of being alone, of losing the other person, or of not being enough. We hold on tightly, trying to control the outcome, trying to ensure that the relationship stays the way we want it to. But this kind of attachment is not love. It is fear masquerading as love. True love is not about possession or control, it is about freedom. It is about allowing the other person to be who they are without trying to change them or make them conform to our expectations. When we let go in a relationship, we are choosing to love the other person unconditionally, without attachment to the outcome. We are choosing to trust that if the relationship is meant to be, it will flourish on its own, without the need for control or manipulation. And if it is not meant to be, we trust that something better is waiting for us. Letting go in relationships also allows us to release the baggage of the past. So often we carry the weight of past hurts, betrayals, and disappointments into our current relationships. We hold on to resentment, anger, and fear, and as a result, we are unable to fully open our hearts to the present moment. But when we let go of the past, we free ourselves from this burden. We allow ourselves to experience love in its purest form, without the distortions of fear and pain. This is the space where true intimacy can blossom, where we can connect with others on a deep and meaningful level, without the barriers of the past standing in the way. Letting go also aligns us with the flow of abundance. Abundance is not just about material wealth, it is about living in a state of flow, where everything we need comes to us effortlessly and naturally. When we hold on to things out of fear, whether it be money, possessions, or even ideas about success, we are blocking the flow of abundance. We are operating from a mindset of scarcity, where we believe that there is not enough, that we must hoard and protect what we have or else we will lose it. But this mindset only creates more lack. The more we focus on what we don't have, the more we reinforce the belief that we are lacking. And this belief creates a reality of lack. Letting go, on the other hand, is an act of abundance. It is a declaration that we trust in the infinite supply of the universe, that we know that we are always provided for, and that we do not need to cling to anything out of fear. Letting go also aligns us with the energy of gratitude. When we are holding on tightly to things, we are often focused on what we don't have, on what we fear losing, on the gaps in our lives. But when we let go, we shift our focus to what we already have, to the abundance that is already present in our lives. Letting go also allows us to align with our higher purpose. So often we hold on to ideas about who we think we should be, about what we think we should achieve, about the path we believe we must follow. These ideas are often based on societal expectations, on the opinions of others, or on our own fears and insecurities. But when we let go of these ideas, we open ourselves up to the possibility of something greater. Letting go also aligns us with the energy of forgiveness. When we hold on to grudges, resentment, and anger, we are keeping ourselves stuck in a state of pain and separation. We are blocking the flow of love and abundance in our lives. But when we choose to let go of these negative emotions, we free ourselves from the past. Letting go also allows us to align with the present moment. So often we are either stuck in the past, reliving old memories and regrets, or we are focused on the future, worrying about what might happen or trying to control outcomes. But the present moment is where life happens. It is where love,